you guys would like to win this awesome, brand new, never used Bell MX9 MIPS in the cool 7 colorway, all you got to do is subscribe. What is up, guys? I am talking about today why a certain contingent of the fans dislike Jett Lawrence or the Lawrence brothers, but specifically Jett. And I want to get two things sort of across before I get into it. The first is for those Jett fans and Lawrence fans that are watching this. This is not a hit piece. This is me trying to approach this sort of delicate topic, admittedly, in a journalistic, non-biased, analytical way and try to figure out why there is those that do not like the Lawrence brothers. And number two, the reason that I did this is I haven't really found a good comprehensive video about it. A lot of the media people kind of sidestep it for obvious reasons, and I just wanted to take a unbiased, almost biographical, if you will, sort of view as to, okay, why did this happen? And obviously, if you're watching this, you know I have a channel that talks about motocross, supercross, among other things. I've been in the sport for over 10 years. I've listened to what a lot of you guys have said. I've communicated with you guys, and I feel I got a pretty good sense as to why there are those that dislike the Lawrence brothers. And there's, I would say, 4 or 5 reasons, and I'm about to get into those. So what's interesting is I believe the slight resentment towards the Lawrence brothers, and to be clear, first things first, many fans love them, but there's also those that are rooting against them, not necessarily in some like aggressive way, but enjoy seeing Tomac, Chase, etc. beat them. And I really believe that a little bit of this resentment started with, ironically, the donut. So for those of you that are, you're probably well aware, Jett Lawrence has really leaned into this sort of fondness that he has for donuts, as everybody does. Jett Lawrence really enjoyed in the sort of earlier part of his sort of upward trajectory when he was starting to win a lot of races and getting a lot more notoriety. One of the cool things that he did as a token of sort of appreciation for the fans is offer free donuts at many of the races. I believe this started in the outdoors, and what was cool is you would see hundreds of people lined up for the free donuts, for the cool sort of fan interaction, and really from a sort of just moto fan perspective, it seemed like a way to, a symbolic gesture to say, hey, the fans, you guys are why we're able to do what we do, riding dirt bikes, no fans, no sport, so thank you. The irony, unfortunately, is what started as a gesture for fans actually became a money-making opportunity. I don't believe they still offer any donuts for free anymore. And again, interestingly, those same donuts that were intended as a sort of means of thanking the fans are now only available through, I think, a box of 4 donuts for like $30. And so it just feels like, well, wait, I thought this was a means of you guys saying thank you to the fans. Now you've leveraged it into a money-making opportunity. I feel honestly, and you tell me what you guys think, I think this is where a little bit of the rub started. Is it was like, well, was that all just a marketing ploy? The next thing that they did that I will talk about that definitely, I think, created a little bit of a just irritation on behalf of the sport and the industry is the fan zone. And more specifically, 2 things that many people have pointed out, and that is when you buy a fan zone ticket for $2,000, you get a box of sort of various things in sort of relation to Jett and Hunter. And one of the things you get is a Alpine Star Jett Lawrence jersey. But it's not a full-size jersey as you would expect that you could wear, that you could display. It's this weird half-sized jersey. And this is another one of those where you go, okay, your fans are paying $2,000. Did you really have to save the extra, what, $10 to get Alpine Stars to go from this sort of weird miniature jersey that, let's be honest, nobody's going to display this like weird shrunken, it looks dumb if we're being totally honest. And how much money did you guys honestly save instead of providing the full-size jersey that would have been awesome and a great idea, but instead opted for this weird miniature jersey that you can't wear and you really can't even display? And then what's funny is I remember in the one video where, ironically, it was one of the Lawrence brothers press people, they were talking about, well, while it's the miniature jersey, don't worry, you can go ahead and purchase the full size jersey right over there. And this is where we get to this reoccurring theme. And I have seen the comments and I've seen the people talk about it. It's this sense that the Lawrences are trying to sell you something. For $2,000, you couldn't hook them up with a full size jersey. You had to get them to go shell out another $100 for the jersey they can actually wear. And this is where you see the comments of they just care about the money in this kind of like weird dichotomy of they say they love the fans in the sport. But I think, and many people would agree, is when you look at some of these actions, it kind of makes you question it. And that's before we talk about probably the most controversial thing in the fan zone, and that is the bobblehead. The poor guy that has to stand there in front of the fan zone wearing this ill-fitting, I assume, Jett Lawrence plastic head that doesn't look like Jett Lawrence, and frankly just looks, can we all keep real at the same time? Dumb. I don't know whose idea this was. It's dumb. They might have got rid of it, but it was just cringy. And even if some hardcore Lawrence fans are watching this, you got to agree with me on this. Having in Supercross, this gritty sport that is sort of the lifeblood is these scrappy blue collar kind of badasses, and you got this kid or whoever it is standing in front of the Jett Lawrence fan, or the Lawrence fan zone, wearing this preposterous looking plastic, cheap looking head that doesn't look like Jett or Hunter, and is just, you're looking at that and going, who talked them into it? Honest, like that was just dumb looking. I can't imagine there's a single person in this industry that if you ask them straight up, they wouldn't say, yeah, that was really dumb. Guys, this is Supercross. Let's not turn it into Disneyland or some weird tacky kids play. Like that was just also, I would say, probably just a terrible idea. I honestly would love for you guys to comment and somebody to say, no, it was cool. Because dude, come on, let's keep it real for a second. That was just total cringe. Now we get into probably what really boiled over some of the resentment, and that is the Australia situation. For those of you unaware, so Jett and Hunter Lawrence has a partial ownership stake in, I believe, the Australia Supercross series. And in addition to their lengthy contract includes the stipulation that I believe Jett and Hunter have to individually sign off on each rider that enters, and in terms of what financial compensation they get. This is another thing where we go, again, it's just a bad look. Why are you putting, I understand their involvement in terms of sort of from the investment perspective, promoting the series. I get why it's a great idea. You guys really want to put yourself in a position where you're going through rider by rider and determining who does and who does not get financially compensated. And this is where I would say the most controversial thing they did was, and that is Hayden Deegan, who is pretty much the biggest name in the sport right now. I know this would surprise a lot of Jett fans. If you look at the social media following, the views, Hayden Deegan eclipses Jett. It's just an objective fact. That just is what it is. Hayden Deegan wanted to go to Australia, and the Lawrence brothers did not want to provide him any financial compensation in doing so. I know they gave lots of reasonings for this and that. I think most of the fans knew better, that they didn't like him. You could say they didn't want him showing up and stealing the show. They didn't want to do it for whatever reason. But this is, again, where we return to this. If the Lawrence brothers cared about the fans as much as they said, wouldn't you want those fans that are paying money to show up to Australia? Wouldn't you want those fans getting as much bang for your buck as they can? Whether you love Hayden Deegan or hate him, there's no arguing he's pretty much the most exciting person in the sport. Hands down, end of story. Every fan going to Australia would want to see Hayden Deegan there doing his things. But the Lawrence brothers didn't allow that to happen. And this is again where, okay, Lawrence brothers, you talk about caring about the fans and sort of having this really sort of appreciative and grateful sort of attitude, but your actions don't always back that up. And this is to the last reason why people have a little bit of an irritation towards Jett. And that is them constantly talking about their kind of Australia rags to riches story. There's no arguing that the Lawrence camp has definitely marketed that for every drop that it's worth. And I think a lot of people in the industry, in the fans, have gotten sick of it for two reasons. A, I don't know how to say this to the Lawrence brothers. Your story isn't an anomaly, it's the majority. Most of the racers, and even the most successful racers, came from humble, blue collar, working families that invested every last penny into sort of their kids' racing prospects. Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, Ryan Dungey. These riders and families fought tooth and nail, put everything into it, and very seldomly were these families well off. And typically, Ryan Villapoto, another example of sort of the bitterness and the challenges that that family encountered is because of how much it took to commit financially and energy and just everything they had into pursuing their kids' racing goals. And so what I'd like to say to the Lawrence brothers is, guys, it's awesome what you guys did. It's very impressive, but I feel you guys have possibly milked it to an excessive degree. Those are the, whatever it is, 4 or 5 reasons that I believe there is a lingering sort of dislike of them. I know most people like them. This isn't meant as hate, but I do believe that this is a topic that many, many moto and media people avoid. And it comes down to this. When the fans feel that you are acting in a disingenuous way, that you are portraying something differently than your actions are doing behind the scenes, there is going to be some resentment. I'm a fan of what they do. I've stated on this channel that I think Jett is the most talented rider to ever do it. Do I believe that at the same time he's probably made some poor decisions in terms of some of the actions? Yes, but I don't hold it against him. When you're young, I'm sure as he matures, he will sort of look back at some of these things and go, okay, maybe I could have done things a bit differently. That's just how it goes. But so anyways, tell me what you guys think. Agree, disagree. I'm not trying to throw hate to Jett. That's not the point. I'm a fan of what he does. Does it mean that I've liked everything that he's done off the track? No. Let me know what you guys think. I'm not trying to throw hate at the Lawrence brothers. This is me being honest. So leave me a comment. Tell me what you think and hope you enjoy the video.